So thanks for being here. Hope this evening time, Saturday morning worked out for you. Tuesday, Thursday, 5:30, 7:30, Saturday morning, 9 to 11. There are 18 sessions of this. So in 6 weeks, we'll get you through the whole Ignite thing. We usually do Ignite during the day, but we don't during the day when Bold is going on, and Bold is going on. So we have dual career agents that can't be here during the day anyway. And we have new agents that don't need to wait till January. So that's why we're doing this now. So thanks for being here and hope you'll be able to make each time. So my name is Gene Lamb. I'm the productivity coach, and the office is right here, right through that next door. There's a coaching suite over there. So if you're not in coaching, you need to be in coaching. Is that right, Tracy?
Yes.
Have you learned a thing or three already?
3 or 4.
3 or 4 things, yeah. And you just started yesterday.
Yes.
Yesterday was your first day with us. So we'll talk some more about coaching later, but that's not the specific reason why you're here. So during the 18 sessions, sometimes like tonight, the instructor is going to play a video for you. Most of the time, they're not, because frankly, not all the videos are that good. They were made almost 2 years ago now, and they were just recorded while somebody's doing a class like this live. And so there's a lot of the time that the instructor is asking people in the class if they have any questions, and there's a dead 10, 15, 20 seconds while people are trying to decide if they have a question. So most of your Ignite instructors are not going to go through the video. They're not just going to simply play the video for you. They are going to go through the handouts and some PowerPoints to go through the information. And more than that, they're going to give you their personal experience related to whatever the subject is. And you have the chance to ask them questions. Well, what about this? What about that? Do you really do it this way? Do you do it that way? So that's the way it will be set up most of the time. But if you want to watch the videos, rewatch it sometime, because sometimes it's like, okay, who said that? Hey, we're going.
I will email all of y'all, if y'all could email y'all what your building access code is and how to get here, stuff like that, just because it is after hours. And it's going to be like this on Saturdays too.
Yeah. So you can get inside that building. That's open 24 hours, but you're in that little entryway unless you have the code, super duper top secret code to get through that second set of doors.
Yes.
Hey, Jen.
I'll shoot that over with email.
Okay. So
yeah, the envelope has it. Building access code. Yeah, it should be on all of your that envelope I give you with the printer code, mail holder, everything like that. Write it up on the board real quick too, and then that way,
you all got it. Okay.
Next time.
Yeah, and most of the time we'll have those doors propped open in case somebody's coming that's new that hasn't got here before and it doesn't have the code. And people from Johnson County won't necessarily have the code already, and people from West Fort Worth office and Camp Bowie won't necessarily have it. But that will get you in there. There's a front door and a back door that'll get you in 24/7. Your key fob then gets you on into the office or the coaching suite 24/7.
So you said both of them? Sorry.
Yes, it's just gonna be, oh, sorry, ignore that.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 110.
Okay, that's what I was like, did you write that?
That is an important one. That's our broker's actual license.
Yeah, that goes
Okay,
under.
I'm writing down as well.
Thank you.
Oh,
So
thank
do
you.
you mind taking out that door stall? Erica wants to-
We are
Ooh.
busy.
Drill.
That's right. Our curriculum will not get up right. Yeah. But thank you. We'll get that done. Okay. So in case you want to watch the video sometimes, if you go to kwonwardgroup.com, it's going to look like that. And then let me scoot this over. And you look at coaching, click on the coaching tab, and you scroll down some, and here it is, Ignite Toolkit. So there's scripts in there, there's handouts, there's things there. Here's the handouts, and there's the videos. So after tonight, whether that's tomorrow or a week from now or 2 weeks from now, you may think, there's something Jason Abrams said on that first night video, and I can't remember what it was. So you can go back to here and find it. Okay? So one of the reasons that on this first session, we go ahead and watch this is Jason Abrams and Matt Voorhees, the 2 people that are doing this, are really good with what they say. And they'll follow the handout, but again, wouldn't take an hour to go through the handout. The videos are all about an hour. It's the other information in there, and the examples and explanations they give you. All right, so we are going to get started and click play right now.
And we're live. We are live on January 6th. There's a camera here, but there's such a beautiful studio audience we have here today. It is nice. So welcome to 2020. This is our first live stream.
Welcome to
2020.
2020.
This
That's
is also
January,
the very
February
first live
2020.
stream
Before COVID.
for the lab of the new Ignite. It is exciting, and it is a lab. It is a lab, 100%. We're the shirt. Labs involved here.
Lab means they're still figuring things out.
So this means that it's our first
Let's try.
time. We're labbing this process. We're going to understand what's good and what's bad about the new Ignite, where we can improve, and then we're going to work on the fly. Next time we do it, it may be different. Yeah, it's not important what was good and what's bad. It's what's great.
Jason Abrams is the one on the left,
And that's
Matt
what's exciting
Bruce,
about the lab
the one on the
process.
right.
That's the process that we use across the entire television spectrum. The idea is that we create content, where we create technology, and that we ask our agent partners to join with us and then give us feedback so that we can go back and improve anything that needs improvement and double down on anything that you guys can. Yeah, so this is a lab of the first Spark session. Spark session number 1, orientation. So that may be new terminology to you. Ignite is now going to be broken up into 2 sections, Spark and Elementals. And we'll get into it a little bit later.
9
We'll draw
sessions
how it all works.
each of the
This is
2.
the first session of Spark. It's called orientation. And I have the wonderful, amazing Jason Abrams here with me today. Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, so we're here and we're going to walk you through the first session of Spark. We'll do some housekeeping around what's going on with Nashville. I know there's plenty of you guys that are watching from KW Connect Live. We'll get to you in a second. If you're watching us here in the room, you're live in the room on Nashville with Kevin and Arthur, Mario, Anthony, Alexis, Arthur, everyone that's in the room with us today. Housekeeping tips. There's some buttons at the top of your screen, right? Raise your hand is one of them. That's the most important button you'll use today. Raise your hand and you'll be able to ask us questions live. So you can click the button. It's going to show us a little icon that says that you have a question. We'll come to you when there's a natural break to ask that question. So you can ask us live questions. Do your best to keep your questions out of the chat box, just because we're not going to be able to keep up with all those. So raise your hand and ask questions. In order to speak to us, you're going to have to click and hold the microphone button at the top of the screen next to the hand.
So you can't do that.
The microphone button won't show up unless your camera is on. So please turn your cameras on. We're looking at a giant TV, and the biggest pictures we see is of ourselves. We'd rather see you guys. So turn that camera on. We'd love to participate. Thank you, Alexis, Anthony, Mario, Kevin, Arthur, Keith. You guys can turn your cameras on at some point. That'd be awesome. Once that camera's on, you'll be able to see the microphone button. When you talk, click and hold the microphone button. It's like a walkie-talkie. So click and hold while you're talking. Anything else on that? No? Perfect. Awesome. So if you're joining us on KW Connect Live, so you're out in KW Connect land, you can participate slido.com1437. So the Slido code's 1437.
You can't do that.
Should
Either.
also be showing up to the right side of your
try.
screen. You can see the Slido box. All of the
Unless you go back in
resources we'll
time.
talk about today are above
January
you.
20.
There's links to click all of the resources above you, which is like all your homework stuff, and anything we refer to today is going to live right above the screen where you see us and hear us talk. Perfect. Let's start. Yeah. Ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready to go. So this is really exciting, right? Because if you're here and you're watching this, it's because you're launching a real estate career or you're relaunching a real estate career. So before we get into all of these slides and everything else, I want to take a second and just congratulate you. I believe that you guys are on the journey that leads to the greatest destination of all of business. I say that because when we look at other businesses, we know that residential real estate offers the lowest barrier to entry with the highest reward. This is to say that years ago, this is my 21st year doing it. And years ago, when you got licensed, people would say things like, it's a limitless business, but that just wasn't true. It wasn't that there were rules precluding it from being limitless. It was that the technology didn't allow it to be. Meaning that if you were going to make money, you had to do it within this like 8-mile radius around where you lived. And it all of a sudden put a geographic limitation on your growth. But now, thanks to modern advances in telecommunications and third-party technologies and proprietary technologies like Command, which we're going to talk about today, your business is completely limitless. It can get as big as you want. It can be in as many locations as you want it to be in. It can have as many agents. I mean, when you think about the number of lives that you're able to impact through residential real estate, it absolutely becomes unquantifiable. Consider this. Every single person in your life right now is going to feel good if you wildly succeed, which we know you are because you're starting the right way.
But then how many other people's lives are you going to be able to impact by bringing them into your organization? How many homeowners' lives are you going to get to change by helping them find the right house or sell the right house? How many dollars in homeowner equity are you going to protect? And when we talk about the real estate agent as a protector of home equity, understand, we're saying that you're the cornerstone of the American dream. And when I say that, it's because residential real estate holdings have always been a wealth generator and builder in this nation. And it's you guys that do that. And so what does all this mean? Here's what it means. It means that you pick the greatest business on the planet. You're involved in the greatest real estate company that the world's ever known. And you're about to undertake one of the greatest courses ever brought to you in real estate. You know why it's so great? Because it's a basic understanding of the key fundamentals of universal truths. And this is that the activities that you take on a daily basis ultimately write the script for your life. And so what are those activities? How do we make sure that doing them is not just fun, but also rewarding? And it doubles down on the fundamental truth that people do business with people they like. And we're going to talk about that a lot today. So I don't want to bore you, but I want to foreshadow this, that I hope that you like you, because we already like you. And now our mission is to make sure that everyone in your entire world likes you while living in you today. That's how we know we won.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And what we're going to really focus on in this very first section, the Spark section of Ignite, is getting that first appointment.
Yeah, and let's just talk about this for a minute. The slide that you're looking at, this what successful agents do every day, this was born out of a conversation directly with Gary. What he did is he sat down with a bunch of people at KWRI.
Page 4 in your handout.
Agents, and then he sat with a bunch of new agents. And he asked them, what are the key fundamentals for the residential real estate business? And as you can guess, the answers were all over the map. Everyone that we spoke to had a different idea. Before you knew it, we had put ultimate complexity into a really simple conversation. Well, Gary would tell you that all success is found in simplicity, but everything is too complex. So he made this simple document. Agents have to grow their business and they have to run their business. Understand, nobody gets absolved from either of these sides. Growing the business means lead generating for buyers and sellers. It's making listing presentations to sellers. It's making buyer presentations to buyers. And of course, it's previewing real estate. Now, why we do those things is what we're going to delve into today on a really deep level. But what's the point of growing the business if you can't actually then run it? Meaning that once we start to get customers, we then have to market the homes that we're listing. We got to show buyers houses. We have to be expert negotiators. We have to transact management because they're bringing us into their lives to make their lives easier. Then we're going to have vendors. We got to set goals. And we have compliance with all of these different things. But here's what's cool about this session, Spark. It's that the first time that I can remember, we're doing this in the perfect sequential order, which means that if the daily activities don't begin with lead generation, here's the problem. You never get to give the gift of real estate consultation unless you produce the lead. You see, you guys are all change agents to make people's lives better, but when you have nobody sitting in front of you or standing in line to let you be their economist of choice in the local market, you can't impact anybody's life. And so lead generation, said differently, is caring about people. You see, we generate leads so that we can make their lives better. We're not, understand, it results in commission income, sure, but that's secondary. When we generate leads to improve people's lives, everybody wins.
100%. And it's safe to say here too, that nothing on the right matters without the stuff on the left. Like without number one on the left, which is lead generated for buyers and sellers, you don't ever have to do anything on the right.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, they're all important. And here's what we know. We know that success leaves clues. We didn't like come up with this on the Uber ride to the office today, right? We came up with this from interviewing top agents from across the country, new agents that ultimately became rookies of the year. We said, wait a second, there's gotta be something prevalent within your business if it happens all the time. And it does. Let me, spoiler alert, this year in your market center, someone's gonna become the rookie of the year. It happens in every market center every year. And so let's look back and interview those folks and figure out what the best practices are. Not what are the unique practices, but what can we see showing up in the lives of everybody who wins the gold medal? And when we do, it becomes really clear really quickly.
100% of the rookies of the year will lead generate more than anyone else in their market sector.
Agreed.
That's a fact.
No question.
Like the person who lead generates more gets more business.
Yeah. And again, we lead generate because we care about people. And by the way, if you genuinely don't care about people and you don't want to be a change agent for good, this is a really tough business because there's a misnomer in it. We always say that real estate is a person-to-person business. What we're really saying is that the currency of Keller Williams is relationships. It's the relationship between the office and you, and then your relationship to all your consumers. And make no mistake about it, the consumer is grading every interaction that they have with you. Here's the problem. I know you're all amazing people. And I know that other people are really going to enjoy spending time with you. If you don't actually interact with them, you become a secret agent. And we don't want to make secret agents. That's for sure.
Exactly. Perfect. All right. So let's kick into orientation a little bit again. The point of this is to get an appointment in 2 weeks. That's our goal for the first section of Ignite, is to get your first appointment.
Right. So write it down. This should go across every whiteboard that you have. If you're a brand new agent, you have a brand new notebook and nothing on it, feel free, write it on the cover. I'm going to have an appointment in 2 weeks. There's nothing that's going to happen that's going to dissuade me from that. There's not going to be any act of nature that's going to stop you from that. It's an immovable object, and you are an immovable object in residential real estate. Every single one of you guys is here to stay. There's not going to be any stories about getting out of the business because you just got in and it's the greatest business ever. Now the goal is get an appointment in the next 2 weeks.
And there's no reason that everyone that's watching this can't get an appointment in 2 weeks. In fact, one should be the bare minimum.
I'm gonna tell you this, a lot of you guys are gonna have appointments by the end of the day. If you tune in and you listen to the things I'm gonna tell you, because I'm not guessing on any of this. It's all proven.
Yeah, you have a successful real estate business and have had for many years. I'm shocked you've been here for 20 years. You don't look a day over 25. You're welcome.
It's fantastic.
I know, you weren't expecting that, were you? Perfect. So welcome to Ignite. And who else other than the man himself, Gary Keller, is going to welcome you to Ignite. We've got a short video we're going to show you guys, and we'll be right back with you in just a second.
Hi, I'm Gary Keller. This course will allow you to get off to a fast start you can build on. Because if you repeated the principles every 90 days for a year, believe me, you have an awesome first year. And just as important, you would have built the foundation and momentum for your entire career. It is practical, realistic, and easy to apply. It's about the fundamentals that determine your level of success in the business of real estate. From our research with top agents, we have found that they too started their careers with these fundamentals, and they continue to do them along with their team to this very day. It's not hard. It just requires a little focused effort, a few hours every day. Now, there is really just one way to achieve the goal. It's lead generation. Other skills are important, yet without leads to work with, your skills won't mean a thing. Dealing with business never takes precedence over what? Finding business. Never. Research shows that top producing agents make lead generation their #1 priority and the one thing they make sure they always get done. You can do this. And when you do, you will get the leads, the relationships, the experiences, the career, and the income that you want and deserve. Go get them, and good luck.
That's great music at the end there.
Fantastic.
So one thing that Gary said that hit me in that video was doing business never takes priority over getting business.
That's right.
Thoughts?
Well, the truth is that look, shepherding people through buying and selling residential real estate that's our favorite part. We love doing that. The issue becomes is that the transactions are finite, meaning at some period of time they end, and those people then begin the journey of whatever piece of real estate you gave them. If you don't have more people to be involved in that journey with, that effectively means that you're out of business. In the same way that a builder who doesn't own any land is not really a builder that day, or a real estate agent without any new customers is not really a real estate agent that day, because this is a symbiotic relationship. Consumers have needs. You see, the best sales in the world are the ones that solve real problems. See, all of us, especially here on this group, we're all probably really great salespeople. We could sell anything, right? We could be selling dices and chops and slices. We could be doing that, but it doesn't solve a fundamental problem that people have. You see, where they're going to live speaks to the humanity of the human condition. It's part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's why nothing else in your business will have as big an impact as the number of leads that you have. Because here's the thing, in order to have people whose lives can make better, you first got to have people.
100%. Perfect. So we talked about the difference in the new Ignite, or one of the many differences in the new Ignite, which is the split between Spark and the Elemental. So this graphic that you see on the screen can help kind of illustrate what's going on there. You see a bunch of loops in the Spark section. Tell me about that.
these circles are really important. There's just some activities that we're always going to do. And we know that when we do these activities over and over and over again, that's when we start to get the results that we want, which we then do during the elemental time. These are going to be things like script practice. Now, you guys are going to have one of these awesome script books. Here's the thing about script practice. If I told you that every single day that you sit in your car and listen to music, you're practicing scripts, you might not believe me. But how many stupid songs do you get stuck in your head that you can't forget? You see, humans have an amazing ability to remember things when they hear them over and over again. The only way to internalize these scripts is to practice them, which is why even experienced agents still do it every day. Because here's the thing. The words that we say, they define who we are as business owners. Meaning that the conversation is your canvas and the words that you use are your paints. You have to become the best artist in the marketplace. You see, the functionary side of real estate, which is these are the houses that are for sale, pick one, those don't separate you from your competition. It's your ability to speak eloquently about those homes. It's your ability to have fierce conversations that help people drive into action when they might be stuck in inaction. It's your ability to explain complex ideas in short sentences. It's your ability to ask people how you can be part of their life that will define how you do as a person-to-person sales entrepreneur. The next thing that we're going to need to do, what do we got here?
Oh, material again. You talked about the script book right above your screen, right? Right above your screen are the links to the script book and all of your other Ignite materials. Cool, perfect. So if you're watching us on MashMe, you're not going to see that in your screen. Where do the MashMe participants, where can they get it? KWConnect.com, I imagine, under Ignite. Perfect.
The next thing, so whenever we're talking about these circles, we're talking about habits. These circles represent habits. One of the habits, and write it down, you guys, if you're playing along at home, you're going to be doing script practice. That's going to be the deal. You got to be adding new contacts into your data bank. We're going to talk about data banks in a minute, but here's the thing. I promise you, the more people that you add into your life, the more lives you can impact. That's why we add new people into our systems every day. And then we call it 10-4. These are the habits and activities that we know make you successful over a short period of time. These are things like adding 10 new people a day into your data bank. It's doing quote unquote 10 handwritten notes that we're going to talk about. This is just the beginning.
Previewing homes. We're going to get to those in a minute. Let's talk about daily success habits and what that means, right? So you're going to be building your database in your daily success habits, which is going to be 30 minutes of updating contacts. Yeah, if you don't know what that means, we're going to get to it in a minute. Don't worry. It's going to be 30 minutes of script practice with a partner. Yep. It's going to be an hour of lead generation time. That's calling and trying to earn more business. Remember what Gary said. There's no point you'll never sacrifice doing business for getting business. You want to make sure you get business every day as a start, and then you're going to practice contracts. That's part of your daily success habit as well.
Yeah, but that's massively important. Can you imagine going out and turning on the water and then having no way to collect it and then help it? Like, that would be wild. We have to understand the contracts that we're asking people to write, and you're going to do that on a local level in your market centers. See, real estate is nuanced as we go state by state, market center to market center. We're going to work on the skills to help you get customers. And the market centers are going to help you work on the skills to make sure those customers get ultimate representation.
Yeah, and in your daily success habits, let's not kid ourselves. One of those is more important than the rest. The lead generation. If we drive home one thing today, it's that lead generation is the most important thing you're going to do every day, and it should be the first thing.
And yeah, and by the way, you guys, lead generation doesn't mean got up and cold call strangers, got up and knocked on strangers' doors. It doesn't have to mean those things. It might mean that you simply meet someone that you already know for a cup of coffee and organically talking about real estate. It might mean that you go look, if you say to me, Jason, I want to golf every single day. Awesome. Make sure you do it with 3 strangers and talk about real estate on every 13th hole. You're going to win. Lead generation doesn't have to be boring. As a matter of fact, it should be your favorite part of the week. And if you do it right, it will.
Yeah, and that brings us right to our next topic. We'll just start with your sphere. For the vast majority of you, your first transaction is going to come right out of here. You already know the person most likely that you're going to end up doing your first transaction.
Yeah, and let's talk about this, right? Your sphere of influence or your circle of influence. These are the people that are closest to you. This is friend, family, neighbor, relative, former coworkers, you name it, and they're there. The reason this is so vitally important is because when I talk to new agents that leave the business, meaning they got in, they had a dream that was residential real estate, and then they get out. The only reason anyone gets out of the business is because the dream of where they were going gets so obscure that they no longer see a clear path to it. And I would submit to you that that is generally because they don't like meeting strangers. And they say it's hard to cold call, it's hard to talk to strangers. Keep in mind, when you were an infant, 3 years old, you were told never talk to strangers. So if you feel weird about it now, that's one of the reasons why. But so in lieu of that, what do? Well, we talk to the people that aren't strangers. Meaning if your focusing question is how many strangers can I meet every day, let's just do the math on this. Everyone who's watching, pull out your cell phone for a second. Just grab it. And I want you to open up your contacts. And in your contacts, I want you to scroll all the way down to the bottom. And if you do this, you're going to get to a number. That number is the total number of contacts in your phone. So
Mine's 940.
David's got 940 people in his phone. I hope you're playing along. Alexis, you going through the phone there and you figure out how many people you got. Cool. I got 3,174. Here's what the math says. The math says that the average person has just around 1,000 people in their phone. I want you to take that 1,000 figure and then multiply it by 6%. Because here's the deal. About 6% of all the people in your phone are going to have a real estate action over the next 12 months. That might mean that they're buying a house. It might mean that their cousin's buying a house or their neighbor's moving. They're going to be connected. Now you do that math and you're talking 60, 70, 80 transactions. That number and multiply it what the average commission is in your marketplace, and you realize that the path to making the amount of money that you want to make is not really hard to find.
No, NAR says that 66% of sellers and 41% of buyers are going to find their agent through a friend.
Yeah.
It's going to be someone that's connected to them in some way. So if you're not starting with your sphere and talking to the people that you know and having them talk to the people they know on your behalf, you're missing the boat.
Yeah, if you're ignoring the people you know to try to meet strangers, I don't get it. That's like stepping over $1 to pick up a quarter. It's not a good use of your time. Remember, you already have the biggest commodity in residential real estate, and that's people. And you've been collecting these people your entire lives. Now we're going to change these people's lives for the better. And that leads directly to this drawing that you're seeing right here. You guys see this wavy line?
So one of the things David said was, talk to people you know and get them to find out about people that they know that might need help. So when I was taking a night, the teacher said, I don't care who you are, sooner or later you run out of people that you know. You've got to learn how to tap into the people that your friends know. So a common question when you're talking with somebody after a hi, hello, how are you, how are the kids and all that stuff is, who do you know that might be ready to buy or sell or invest in real estate? So that's the opening question to help you tap into the people that they know and keep it in the front of their mind. So when they hear of somebody who's thinking about buying or selling, that they automatically think of you. Okay. All right. So now he's talking about this, and this drawing is on page 8.
Deal with this wavy line. Everybody that you know is living on this wavy line. And at the very top of the first wave there, picture that's the day that they buy a house or they sell a house. And you collect commission and they move into a fantastic property. You could say that at the top there, that lead is worth whatever your average commission is. So let's say you make $10,000 every time someone buys a home in your market. The top of that is when they buy a house and you made $10,000. Now then the bottom of the next valley, that would be kind of like the very next day, because nobody buys a home the day after they buy a home. It's awkward. But what happens is every day after that, it starts going up in value again as they start to go through the journey of life and they get closer to the next time they buy and sell real estate, which is the top of the next peak. And those two peaks are separated in this country by between 3 and 7 years. So here's the challenge that you have. How do you stay in omnipresent communication with these people throughout that entire journey? And if you don't know where your people are on this journey, how do you know who to be talking to? Meaning, like when I know it's your birthday coming up, I can throw my arms around you and give you a huge hug. But if I don't know when your birthday is, what am I supposed to do? Hug you every single day and hope I get lucky? See, that gets really difficult. And the question becomes is how well do we know our people and how well do we know where on their life journey they are?
Well, and here's a point of exactly what you're saying, right? We both sold a number of houses in our day. Never at the closing table does your client say, hey, I'll see you in 3.5 years when I sell this house.
Well, that's the thing. And let's just do it with the people that are right here. How many of you are, and hold up your hand, right? By the way, the Slido code is 1437.
Yeah, 1437 on Slido.
How many of you, show of hands, and you can just raise them because I can see you, are thinking of moving in the next 30 days? You're moving in the next 30 days. Gary, you're not moving in 30 days. Alexis, are you moving? Not moving. Cool. Mario, you moving? Not moving. Cool. How many of you will move in the next 30 days if you win the big game tonight for $321 million? Is anyone moving then? Alexis is staying put. Mario, you're not moving to a new house if you got 320 million?
I actually have a great house right now, 320 million. I just keep investing.
I love
But you're
that.
buying a house, it's just gonna be an investment.
You're moving.
I'm moving.
I'm moving. And if I'm not moving, I'm certainly buying more residential real estate as an investment. Which means that anybody can go from not being a buyer and seller to being a buyer and seller within 30 days, given the right thing happens. But it also works in the converse, meaning if the wrong thing happens. I see people all the time who move because they got ill, who move because they had an injury. So this is the thing about life. People move when they have life events. It's the same reason they've always moved. They get a job, they lose a job. They get love, they get divorced. They have a kid, they become an empty nester. They get rich, they get poor. These life events precipitate people moving. And so there are some of them that are somewhat prescribed, meaning that if you're raising a family in a home and then all of a sudden you become an empty nester, I promise you, you're more likely to move. This is just what the math says. If you retire from work, you are more likely to move. All of these things, you need to know where these people are. The challenge is if you don't, then you're just using the hope and wish method. Meaning I hope I'm in the right place at the wrong time, and I'm really wishing for success. Friends, hoping and wishing is not a duplicatable model or strategy.
100%. You know, how people move through this process, you're never gonna know where they are unless you stay trusted.
We'll do it right now. Think about 5 people right now in your life. Any 5 that you want. Could you plot them on this drawing right now? Could you tell me how close they are to moving? Now, by the way, if you were to take out your phone right now and call every single person in it, here's what you would find. If you were to call every single one and say, hey, I'm just calling, what are your real estate plans for 2020? There would be one cohort that says we just moved. I promise you, they would be at the bottom and they just moved. There'd be another group that says, you know what, we're actually moving. They would be closer to the top. And then the vast majority of them would be somewhere in the middle. Now, how many of them could you place on this drawing right now?
Let's do the exercise. We'll give you guys 1 minute. Try and find 5 to 7 names and draw the wavy line and try and place them on the wavy line.
Cool. Or draw one and then just put 5 dots on it for your people. Try to do it.
Perfect. That's in page 8 of your participant guide, by the way.
Yeah,
Because
give
here's
me the people you
thing,
know
right?
best,
People don't move.
or likely
because
to
you
know
got a
where
real
they are
estate.
on that curve.
Here's
on
the
that
call
line.
you're not going to get. Hey, Jason, it's cousin Nick. Hey, cousin Nick, how are you? Well, your mom told me you got a real estate license. I wasn't planning on moving, but now that you're licensed, I'm in. You're not going to get that call. Cousin Nick, if he's calling you, he was going to move anyway. And now his cousin's a realtor. So here's the thing. Number one, if you're a secret agent, it's no good. Everyone has to know what you do. Number two, if you're not able to plot any people on this drawing, the trouble is you don't know where to be and you're never going to be at the right place in the right time. Everything we're building at Keller Williams, including this course, is about making sure you're in the right place at the right time more often. And number three, if you want to feel in control, and by control is a really big thing with people. Everyone wants to feel like they're controlling their outcomes and their environments. Friends, if you want to be in control of how much income you make in 2020, I promise you this, the more people that you can plot on this drawing, the more in control you'll be.
Perfect. So you've got,
And if you don't know where they are, that's okay. What's coming next will help you learn how to find out.
got 5 to 7 names now on your wavy line. I would challenge you that those should be your first 5 to 7 phone calls. See if you're right. See if they're in the spot that you thought they were on the line. 66% of sellers, 41% of buyers do business with someone that they know or that knows a friend of theirs. People do business with people they know and like and trust.
People do business with people they like. You guys think about your lives, it's a fundamental truth. Here's the thing, when you build models and systems based on fundamental truths, they always withstand the test of time.
Perfect. So what do you say when you make the phone call to those 5 or 7 people? Walk me through that script.
I'll be honest with you, and you have a fantastic script book. And by the way, since you're going to be doing daily success habits and practicing scripts and whatever, you're all going to become masters of it. You know how you'll know when you're a master at script is because it'll no longer feel like a script and it'll just feel like it. But you can have a conversation as simple as, what are your real estate plans in 2020? How about this for a conversation? Hey, David, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Guys, now we are in it. You make that phone call. I know you're waiting for more. There's no more. That's a conversation, because without humanity, it doesn't matter how much tech you have. And the humanity is being able to call and have a simple conversation on a human level. Now, there are certain things that we know talking about results in real estate. We call it the Ford method. That's family,
Age 10.
occupation, recreation, and dreams. Now, why do we use this method? Here's the thing. You can talk about anything on the planet. You talk about the playoffs. You talk about politics. I would stay away from that. You talk about cool cars. You talk about fashion. You talk about Insta Twitter. Talk about anything you want. But Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams, these are the funneling questions for residential real estate moves. Think about this, friends. Family, it's either growing or it's shrinking. Either way, that's a conversation about right sizing. Occupation, my friends, you are either on the way up or out in this country. And I promise you, when you get to know where people work and where they are in their employer's journey, you'll uncover people that are getting closer to retirement. Do you know that the average millennial will switch jobs 9 times over the course of their professional life, assuming they ever actually start working? That will happen. And if you don't know about it, how are you going to be in a position to help them find the next home? I like to say, I'm the last face you see in the town you're in, the first face you see in the town that you're going to. Recreation, do you know the average American goes to the same 3 vacation spots their entire adult life? You guys, if that's not a conversation about a vacation residence or a second investment property, I don't know what is. And then dreams. Dreams, they connect all of us. You see, everybody knows where they are today and where they want to be in the future. And these dreams are usually tied to a physical location. Everyone said, I'm going to work my whole life, I'm going to save all my money, and then I'm going to retire. Somewhere beautiful. Cleveland.
Cleveland in the winter.
Best. And that's what people do, is they try dreams to locations. But if you don't know what's going on in their family, here's another one with family. Let's just talk about, do they have adult children? Are those adult children getting ready to buy residential real estate? Do they have new children on the way? All of those are right side.
100%. This is a very easy conversation. It's not just a lead generation conversation either. You should have this conversation when you're out networking, anywhere you're at. This is a very easy conversation starter.
These are the things that you actually talk about with people you like. By the way, think about the relationships that you have right now with people. Is this not part of the conversation every time? Like, ladies, when you go out for a cup of coffee with someone, guys, you go out, cup of coffee, are you not talking about family, occupation, recreation, and dreams? And you know why you're comfortable talking about it with them? Because you like them and you actually care about their family, their occupation, their recreation, and the dreams. There's no delineation between real estate. It isn't like we have one set of conversation with people we actually like, and then another set of conversations with people we're trying to sell. That's not caring about people. You see, we have one set of organic conversations. That's what the Ford script is. And if you were to say to me, Jason, I don't know the script, what I would say to you is the script is just being you. How do you talk about family with people now? How do you talk about what they're doing in their life? If you overcomplicate this, it's to your own detriment. It's not hard to care about people. What's hard is to start the conversation to care about. You see, here's the thing. You guys are going to be leaders. You're leading your entire sphere of influence when it comes to their residential real estate. Well, leaders talk about what will be. Leaders look to the future. Managers try to control to that. I'm not asking you to control conversations today. I'm asking you to have human conversations about the future. And if you do it, you're going to uncover all kinds of people to help.
100%. Cool. So let's talk about that. You've got your 5 to 7 people. You know exactly what you're going to say when you call them. You're just going to talk about their family, occupation, recreations, and dreams.
Yeah, but you can't just call and be like, hey, how's your family? Like, if they haven't spoken to you in a long time, that's going to feel a little bit weird. That's why I say start with the people who that wouldn't feel when you're talking to. Just get into the rhythm of talking to. Then some of the people that you haven't spoken to in a while, those are the calls where you can call them. You know, you hit somebody out of the book on Facebook on a direct message and say, oh my gosh, I haven't talked to you since high school. How are you? By the way, if you're scared to death about picking up the phone, I get it. Use direct message on Facebook. Go in and hit some people you haven't spoken to in a long time and say, I haven't spoken to you in 20 years. How is your life? How is your family? What's been going on? Guys, this doesn't have to be scary.
You'd be shocked how often that turns into business. My very first check in real estate was that exact conversation. I hit up a friend I used to work with in another state, by the way, North Carolina. He was looking to buy a house. I told him I was in real estate. I found him an agent in North Carolina, and my first paycheck was a referral for his first home.
Yeah. Here's the thing. If you call somebody, all you do is talk about real estate, what you're really telling them is I only care about a transaction. And that's not what we want to tell them. Here's what I would do if I were you. Before I picked up the phone, before I sat down a direct message, and before I sent a text, I would simply say out loud, people want to talk to me and I'm coming from abundance. I say things like that all the time out loud because I have a little bit of doubt. It lives in me too, and it lives right here. And if I don't talk to it, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. But I do. And I say, you know what, doubt, today is not the day for you. It's 2020. I'm in a new industry and I'm planning on conquering the world. Here's what I'm not going to doubt. My ability to connect with people that care about me. Here's what I'm not going to doubt. My zeal to get to the end of the process. Here's what I'm not going to doubt. The fact that I'm starting daily habits that are going to change my life. And the number one thing I'm never going to doubt again, you will have an appointment within the first 2 weeks. That is going to happen. You need to start visualizing it and saying it, because if it isn't real to you, I promise the universe is not going to conspire to make it real for anyone else.
Perfect. So we've got the forward script. Let's move on to some tools, right? You want to know your toolkit. You're going to have a ton of tools over the course of the next month and taking all these classes.
Page
We're going to talk
11.
about one today, which you're going to start hearing about, which is Command. Think of Command as the iPhone for your business, or a smartphone if you're an Android user. We know there's some out there.
Well, I mean, you think about that. You guys have a smartphone right now, and on it, there are tons of apps. And some of them are run by the manufacturer of your phone, and others are third parties. And some you love, and some you love more than others. And some you download, can't even remember why you download it, and you delete it once a year. All of this sort of thing. But here's my focusing question for you. If you didn't have a smartphone, how many apps would you be using right now on a daily basis? And quickly, the answer is 0. If you didn't have the phone, you wouldn't have any apps. The phone is the platform that enables you to use applications, and applications have made your lives better. So when you look at Command, and I want you to look at the screen right now, if you see on that left side, all of those little pictures, those are applets. So in a way, Command is the same as your phone is. It's a platform that allows us to bring applets into your life to give you leverage
And
to
the
make
icons
everything
on the
you do
left.
better. So if someone says to you, how do you keep track of all your people? I say, no problem. I got an app for that. It's called Contacts. Well, they say, well, how do you make flyers and brochures? No problem. I got an app for that. It's called Design. How in the world do you actually transact business? No problem. I got an app for that. It's called Opportunities. Well, wait a minute. How do you even run ads on Facebook? No problem. I got an app for that. It's called Campaigns. Now, I said all of that really fast in order for it to feel overwhelming. But here's the secret. It shouldn't be overwhelming, because you get to explore Command at your own leisure and at your own pace. Meaning that right now, today, there's something in Command for everybody. Now we're going to talk about context, because the most important thing we can do is make sure that our people end up in our system. And here's why we're putting them there. Ultimately, when all of our people reside in one place, and that place allows us to interact with them one-to-one about residential real estate, that's when we go from having a database to having a data bank. That's when we go from having a digital Rolodex to having a business. There's a direct correlation between the number of people that you're going to have in your system, that you're going to follow up with over time, and the amount of money you make. Gary is fond of saying that your database is your business. And friends, here's the exciting thing about it. Right now, your business is pristine. It's perfectly clean. It's not out of order. It's not a mess. If you were coming into the real estate business right now and you had been in it for the last 10 years and you were just trying to update your tech now, you'd be trying to make sense of organized chaos of 10 years worth of data. You are not. You're putting people in brand new. Imagine this. When you buy an existing home, you come in, you got all the problems that came with that house, right? But if you've had the luxury of buying new construction and you walk in and everything is brand new, I tell you, it's coolest. This is your new construction. Everything here is brand new. Now you got to just move in your furniture and make it livable.
Perfect. Let's try it out now. So we want to together here, we're going to log into Command and we're going to show you how to add a contact, right? So you're going to go to agent.kw.com. So agent.kw.com. The link at the top of the screen you can see here. That's going to take you to this login screen. Now, if you don't know what your login is, you can go to your Market Center tech trainer and they can help you with that. I've clicked my login. I'm going to go ahead and sign in. Now, what you're going to see on Command now is the dashboard. This is the Command home screen, the same thing you saw on our slide. Off to the left are all of the apps that Jason was talking about, or applets as we call them. If you click the red KW in the top left, you're going to see all the names for them. And just at your own leisure, at any time you want, today, during class, after class, this evening, go through and click through all these. You're not going to break anything. And go through and see what they do. Allegedly, you won't break. So we're going to go to contact. This is my actual live Command database for my real estate business. You're going to see mine here. Don't call any of these people. Top right corner, you're going to click add contact. So this is, you're going to add, I would challenge you to add the 5 to 7 people you put on that wave earlier. Add them into the system.
It's right here.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Is there an easy way to upload all of your people to your cell phone? Sure, and we're going to get into that as we learn more about it. We want you to actually manually enter 5, 7, 10 people today. The reason we're doing this is because we're trying to create another one of those daily success habits. Remember, if you're going to add 10 new people into your database on a daily basis, this is how you're going to do it. If you guys were musicians right now, we're handing you your guitars. This is going to have to become part of your life. And one of your daily habits is going to have to be entering new people.
Yeah, lead generation is one of those daily habits that we want to do. If every day you called 10 or 20 people that were already in your phone and added them into command after the fact, you'd be winning.
Yeah, and by the way, we're going to give you some other ideas other than just calling. But any way you slice it, there's only 3 things you get to control in real estate. Who you follow up with, by what frequency, and what intensity. But none of those decisions get to be made until you actually have people in your systems. That's why this is so important.
Perfect. So here's where you add a contact. You can click add more information. You can also go to kwconnect.com or click on the question mark in the top right corner of command to get more information about any of these schools.
Well, let's show that again. That's really important. Where's that question?
Question mark's in the top right corner, and that's going to take you to a pop out with all sorts of great material from our team at KWU. You can chat with support here, or you can post an idea. And it's going to take you, if you click on KWU, it's going to know all the sections you're in. You can dashboard, tasks, reporting, all of the applets are here.
So anytime you're in command and you want to explore an applet, you might just want to start with that question mark and watch a couple of videos on how to do it. Remember, guys, this is a choose your own adventure book, not a chapter book. You get to decide what you do each day. The non-negotiables are the daily success habits. Other than that, this is a lot of fun to just get curious and play with.
Perfect. Why do we start our database? If I'm building my database in command and I'm adding people, why do I start with questions?
We kind of touched on it earlier. The question was, why do we start with the people we know? Well, kind of because you already know them. Like, it's so much harder to convince strangers to talk to you. If you don't believe me, walk to a grocery store. Go to a grocery store today and walk around and just try to meet strangers. They will look at you a little strange. The people that you know, though, they're there and they're waiting. Here's the truth. Think about the people that are in your phone right now. All those people we talked about earlier. Guys, if all you know about them is their phone number and their email address, they're not your people. You see, I can buy that same information on Google these days for about $2 per person. Your people. In order to say those are my people, it means that you know about their family. You know about where they work. You know about what they do on their off time. You know about their dreams. If you don't know those things, then you don't know your people.
100%. So start your sphere with your database. Your database and your sphere should be symbiotic. Get them all into command, 1 at a time, 5 at a time, however you want to tackle it. Start adding them into the system and get familiar with your guitar.
Well, I think when I first started in real estate 20 years ago, they gave me a phone book on my first day. And they said, start dialing. And by the time you get to the C's, you're going to have a deal. Literally, that was what new agent training was 20 years ago. That was the whole thing. That was a really good training program. We were smarter than that. But we know that your greatest connection to your past are the people who experience that past with you. Whether you've thought of them recently or not, or they thought of you, isn't the question. The real question is whether they'll think about you in the future. Friends, you're the ones in control.
Perfect. So let's talk about your Ignite Toolkit, which is going to have a ton of resources, some of which you'll use today. You should have already downloaded the daily 10-4 checklist, I believe, or you will right after this. So daily 10-4 checklist is super important. You're also going to have a resources job aid. You're going to have your 411, your buyer lead sheet, your previewing homes job aid. When it says job aid, think of that as just a form to help you tackle that task. Your pre-listing questionnaire and your script list. All those are the toolkits you're going to have at Ignite. Again, those are listed right above you. If you're watching on Connect Live, if you're watching in MaxMe, you can go to kwconnect.com and get all those resources. Prepare for success. That's super exciting, isn't it? Spark learning modules. This is what you're going to get to next. This is just the orientation. We're going to dive deeper into each of these things as we go on. I happen to be teaching the lead generation model tomorrow. So tomorrow at noon, we'll be back for class number 2 of Spark.
That is can't miss TV. I'll tell you that.
Jason may or may not be with me. I would guess not. Yeah, he won't be here. Then we're going to understand scripts. And we're going to have all of some of the best instructors in all of Keller Williams, not including myself, come teach these classes. Wendy Papazan and a lot of the mega agents that live and work around the Austin area are going to be teaching these classes to you. understanding scripts, set up your database and feed it. How to set goals that matter, delivering your value proposition, find and win the buyer, how to work with sellers, and a day in the life of a real estate agent. A lot. It's a lot to learn. This is your job. This is your new job. You're likely on day one or week one or certainly month one of your real estate career. This is your job moving forward. Now, the hardest part of this is being accountable to yourself. It was the hardest part I found when I started in real estate. There's no boss to report to. You're reporting to yourself.
Yeah, and for some of us, that's the greatest thing ever. And for others, it's really hard. Here's what I'm going to tell you. Because you have all of these resources, you have all this education. None of it takes the part away from simply being more human, more often with more people. But we got to have conversations with folks. People do business with people they like. And all of the, by the way, your life journeys, they brought you to this point. You have all the tools that you need already inside. You know how I know that? That's why we call things insights. You see, because we may proctor you through self-discovery, and all of a sudden you're going to say, that was amazing, or he said something that connected, or she said something that changed my life. Anytime I listen to Wendy, who you're going to be listening to, anytime that changed my life. Here's the thing. They're already inside of you. If they weren't, we call them outsides. But they're already in here. All we're doing is tour guiding so that you find some of these insights. Here's what you need to know. That when you line up, make your dreams happen, you do the daily habits that lead to more people in your world, there's no way to not be successful. It's already, the die is pre-cast. That's what's so cool about it. You know why? Because everyone that you're going to be talking to lives in a house. Ask yourself, how many of the people in your cell phone right now do not live in some sort of a home? Well, here's the thing, very, very few. I'm not saying you got to go out and create the market. I'm not saying you got to convince all these people to buy something they would never have bought before. I'm saying they're all living in a house and the natural progression of their life makes them move. All we have to do now is get into their life so when they move, the organic person to talk to is us. That comes from caring about people. That comes from the daily success habits. That's why this works.
Perfect. So those were the Spark learning modules. You'll move on after the first 2 weeks to the elementals. That's prospecting, marketing, open houses, seller and buyer appointments, make and receive offers, and financial basics, along with how to negotiate a deal. So those things will all be part of the elemental section, which will be the back 2 weeks of Ignite. We talked about the daily 10-4 a lot. Let's actually go through that, as that's a super important piece of Ignite. You're going to be doing it every day.
Write this down.
Hence the name, the daily 10-4.
Or take a picture of the screen with your.
Absolutely key, right? We want to make this really easy. Here's the thing. Math solves all problems. There's a mathematical equation for all success. And this one is 10-4, and it's so easy. We have to grow and we have to manage our database. That means we got to add 10 new contacts every day. Now, here's the question you're going to ask. What happens if I add less? It's really easy. You're just going to grow your business slower and make less money. The number is 10, and that number holds true. The next one is speak with 10 people in my database. You guys, speaking to 10 people on a daily basis takes an awful lot of courage and an awful lot of bravery. Bravery. And I want to commend you ahead of time because, look, it's hard. Here's the thing. Talking to 10 people every day, others would say that's weird. But in order to be successful, there's going to have to be a little bit of weirdness. I want you to get weird. Embrace the fact. When was the last time you talked to 10 people in a day? And now imagine how big your universe can be if you did that every single day. Then we have follow-up here. Now it says here, write 10 notes to people you've recently contacted. I get it though. Like I can't read or write for a lick. So writing 10 handwritten notes is going to be hard for me. You guys, this is just a way of thinking. Maybe what you're going to do is you're going to record a video of yourself. That's awesome. And you're going to send that to people that you talk to via text. Maybe you're going to do 10 direct messages within Facebook. Maybe you're going to log into Facebook and you're going to comment on 10 people in your sphere's latest Facebook posts. By the way, what would happen if you did just that? If all you did was comment, I promise you the first thing they would do is read your comments. Then what would they do?
They'd reply to it.
Or like it. Either way, that's likability. I'm not saying you got to sit down with a quill and ink and write 10 notes. I am saying that you got to find 10 different ways in there to connect with people other than through your voice. You see, when you hit people through conversation, and then you hit them through text, or then you hit them through Facebook or direct messenger, or you hit them through email, this is when relationships go from being 2-dimensional to 4-dimensional. The more ways we communicate that we care about people to those people, the easier it is to win. Then you got to preview 10 homes per week. Now, you don't have to do this forever, but you certainly have to do it now. Now, what's a preview? Well, it's when you go out and you look at a piece of real estate that's on the market. You're previewing it. We do this for a bunch of reasons. Number one, you're going to get comfortable using lock boxes and opening doors. I'll never forget my first showing. I was so excited that I got there. I used the lockbox. I got the key. I opened the door. They walked in. I was running around with JoJo the circus clown, and I lost the key to the house somewhere in the house. I was just excited, and I put the key down somewhere. And then when it was time to lock up, I was like, "Oh my gosh!" I literally lost the key. It was awesome. But had I previewed 10 homes living up to that, I would have learned the lesson that you're best off having one place in the house where you always leave the key, like right on the kitchen table. That would have been a good thing to know. The next thing is you're going to start to understand the way real estate works. Meaning, when you walk into a home, can you tell me if it's traditional or contemporary? Can you tell me what style of home it is? Are you starting to notice things at home? Are the doors solid core or hollow? Does the tile in the shower go all the way to the ceiling, or does it stop at the top of the shower? Is the granite in the kitchen solid, or did we just bulldoze it in its cake? Do the cabinets in the kitchen go all the way up? Is that a gas fireplace, or is that working with wood? They got a pool. Don't they have a pool? Is it a saltwater pool? That's a bathtub. Is it a soaking tub or a jetted tub? There's all these things about real estate. And when you walk through enough houses, you automatically become an expert. Keep in mind, people want you to know things about homes that they don't know. And that only comes from being immoral.
Yeah, don't practice on your first client. Know ahead of time. Don't lose the key. We'll call this don't lose the key.
I'll tell you what, you do all those things. You do this 10-4 on a daily basis. You throw in some script practice and you add people every day. That is the mathematical code where I'm going to make a ton of money in my first year. And I'm going to set an appointment in the next 2 weeks. That's the goal.
Yeah, I'll be curious actually for some ahas tomorrow about you guys that tackle your daily 10-4 today. What you think around growing and managing, prospecting, follow-up, and knowing your market around these things. How hard or easy was it today?
But think about that. And you get to decide how you're going to do it. Like when you go out and preview a house, you know what most real estate agents do is they leave a business card on the counter so that the homeowner knows they were there. Guys, what if you left a handwritten note on every counter that you went into? It said, "Thank you so much for letting me preview your home. It's absolutely gorgeous. I really appreciate it." You show that kind of gratitude to 10 people every day in writing, I promise good things are going to start to happen for you. That's just how it all works.
Perfect. So how do we make the most of Spark? This is this is a time to remember that just because this class is almost over, that your day is not over. Your real estate day doesn't end at 12:50 or 1 o'clock. You've got things to do the rest of the day. Hopefully you've been tackling all of your stuff in the morning. You've done your lead generation. Now you can actually go to the run your business piece, which is ideally what you'll be doing in the afternoon. Things you could do, preview homes. That's one of your daily 10-4 activities. Afternoon's a great time to time block for that. Read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, or MREA as we call it, and you'll start to hear people refer to it. Continue to contact your sphere. You can never do too much lead generation. Just because we gave you an hour as the minimum doesn't mean you shouldn't do it for 2 or 3. Again, I promise you, the rookie of the year in each one of your offices will be the person that lead generated the most.
And a lot of it you're doing already. If you're going to your kids' sporting events, every other parent that's there, talk to it. Every one of those conversations counting. As long as they're in your database and you're going to follow up with it. You go to the hair salon. I was just at the hair salon. You may have known. I know you know this.
Yeah, 100%.
If there's someone sitting next to you, that's a conversation about real estate. You go to the gym, that's a conversation. Remember, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Those are conversations about real estate. And the person on the other end doesn't know you're talking about real estate. You know why? Just talking about life. Residential real estate are the backdrops for everybody's life.
Awesome. So ahas and recap. We're going to do this at the end of every section. It won't be us that's teaching it, but every single session, you'll have ahas and recap. So we want to know, how has your thinking changed? What ideas or mindsets for you? Get ready, because we're going to make sure that we get some ahas today.
Last week.
What do you do? What do you feel differently about? What was meaningful for you today? That may be different for everyone that's listening, right? How will your behaviors be different going forward? What actions will you take going forward? And then what tools, models, or systems do you have that you maybe didn't realize you had at the beginning? So let's go ahead and take ahas again. If you're watching us on Connect Live, that's slido.com/1437. If you're in the room with us, raise your hand. Adrian, Michelle, Keith, Maureen, Kevin, you'll have to turn your camera on in order to raise your hand and give us your ahas for today. Alexis, I don't necessarily want to call you out, but you've been with us from the beginning. What are some of your ahas for today? Go ahead and hold your microphone down and let us know.
Well, for today, let's say, I was feeling really down about what I was doing. Like, maybe this is not what I should be doing, because I've been in real estate for 3 years. But you guys just confirmed that what I'm doing and talking to people at my gym think is what I should be doing still.
Awesome. Great.
Keep doing it.
Again, anyone on Slido 1437, any ahas given to us today? What was your big aha from today? It's the first time you've taught this new session of Spark.
I love the fact that we're really clear on what's going to happen over the next 2 weeks. I'm going to have an appointment in the next 2 weeks. I tell you what, it's so freeing for me to not have to worry about that if I was on the other end of this computer, meaning we've already decided that that's a foregone conclusion. We now have a course to make sure that it happens. All you got to do now is match that will with a little bit of intensity. You're more than halfway there. The other thing that hits me as we go through this is this idea, and we keep learning it over and over and over again, that success leaves clues. I know it sounds like just a line. People say to me all the time, they say, what does Gary talk about with his top 20 agents? This. There's no time when you graduate from this conversation. The conversation of how many people did I add into my system, how many of them did I follow up with, how many of them do I know where they are on their life journey, and how many of them like me? Guys, that's going to be the conversation from now until the day you retire from residential real estate. Let me just say this. If it ever stops being the conversation, that's when you really need to worry, because that's when somebody else has stepped into your place. You have earned the right to be at the center of the transaction for every single person in your sphere of influence. The only thing you have to do now is tell them that.
Aha from Slido, hello, how are you, is a script.
Yeah, that's a script. I'll get an appointment in 1 week. Anonymous, I love that.
Yeah, whoever the anonymous person was that will get their appointment in 1 week, good for you. You'll definitely make it happen. On the screen right now, you see a success list. What's the difference between a success list and a to-do list?
Yeah, I mean, it's about priority. Remember, guys, on a to-do list, if I give you a list right now, it says, go to the grocery store, stop by the dry cleaner, pick up your prescription, take your mother to the hospital immediately. You hopefully would know where to start if you're lucky enough to go with your mother anyway. The problem with to-do list is you end up with all this stuff that doesn't feel important. That's just not how it is. I'm telling you, representing the client is massively important, but we generating will always come before that, and you won't have enough clients. This success list that you're making gets prioritized.
Perfect. It doesn't take long to make this. 5 minutes. I suggest either doing it the night before you go to sleep at nighttime, take some time, block out 5 or 10 minutes to really think about what you have to accomplish the next day, or make it your first priority in the morning.
Now,
drink your coffee.
Would that be weird? Let me just tell you this. You start making a list the night before of the 5 things you want to accomplish the next day, and every one of your friends will tell you that's weird. And you know what? They'll all be telling you it's weird, and you'll be taking a phone call from your helicopter one day if you get close enough to shore to get a cell phone. Because doing weird things equals success. And making a list and prioritizing your time is weird. You know how you know? You know because the average American is spending 52 minutes a day on Facebook just scrolling through. And you know what? There's no wasted time in this industry. You can't waste the time. This is why the person who gets the most out of their day is the person who gets the most out of their life.
There's no better way to wake up in the morning, in my opinion, than to already know what you have to do. You start the day ahead by having your success list done. So I say try doing it the night before. If you'd rather do it over your coffee in the morning, just make sure you dedicate the time to figure out what you have to do and prioritizing it. Prioritizing is the key.
If you don't have any priorities, everybody else's priorities become yours.
More ahas from Slido. The currency at KW is relationships.
You know, the currency of KW is and always has been relationships, and it always will be relationships. That's why Keller Williams is the place that businesses get built. That's why we're the largest real estate ecosystem the world's ever known, because we're really clear on that. You want to know what the one thing is? It's your connection to the consumer. That's your one thing. Our one thing, our connection to you.
I am the protector of the #1 wealth builder in the country. You say that all the time.
26% of all the wealth in this country is tied up in the equity of people's houses. You protect that equity.
Guys, we have just nailed this right on time at 57 minutes. You guys can get back to your day. You can get to the running your business portion of your day. Or if you don't have a lot of running your business to do, feel free to lead generate more. You've got all afternoon. Complete the Ignite survey, please. You can scan the QR code. This is new, by the way. This is fancy and exciting.
We need you to do this, you guys, because we're in a lab environment right now. We need feedback. Don't worry about David's feelings. Good, the bad, and the ugly, send them over.
Yeah, we actually, the bad and the ugly is best. We want to know where we can improve to make this more valuable for the next group of people that come through Ignite. You can scan the QR code, or you can go and click on the SurveyMonkey link that's right here.
It's important though. Remember, you guys, this is the orientation. So if your feedback is we didn't go deep enough on any one thing, that's what's coming. This is just about getting you guys breathing real estate fire because you're in the best industry in the world and you're about to take the greatest journey of your life. And we honor you for being here. Thank you.
Awesome. That's Jason Abrams. I'm David Voorhees. Thank you guys so much. I will see you tomorrow. And remember, appointment in 2 weeks. You're going to get that appointment. Take care, guys.
Okay, so Zoomers, feel free to unmute yourselves and join in on the conversation and give us feedback. So I want to hear what your thoughts are. What sticks? What out of what you just saw and heard from the last minute? What made an impression on you to make it stick? Say something. Yeah, go ahead.
What does it mean preview homes? Are we allowed to go get lot boxes and just look at homes that are for sale in our area?
You can. When you have access to MLS through Netris, then you can do that. Now, I personally would not go do that on a house that says it's occupied, owner occupied. A thing on there will say occupant. It may say vacant. Those are the ones I go to first. It may say tenant, or it may say owner. So I'm going to try not to go to those first, but I'm going to go to the ones that say vacant. I'm going to go to, what else? How else could you go to houses?
But you also, do you have to make an appointment to do that?
Yes, you need to make an appointment.
Through
Yeah,
the-
through the
listing.
Netris system,
Okay.
showing time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. How else? How else could you go see a house to preview 10 houses? What about
Like
open houses?
Open houses.
Open houses, they're already saying, come on, you don't have to have an appointment. Open house from 2 to 4. What else? How about builders model homes? Yeah. And the other thing I'm gonna tell you, for your 10 houses a week, don't let them just be random houses. Have them be in one geographic area this week and have them be in a certain price range. So now you're really learning the market. Instead of just 10 random pieces of information, it's starting to over time, over a few weeks, you'll get an idea. So if your buyer says, where can I get the most for my money if I can afford $300,000? Should I go to 76108 or 76126? Should I go out to West Fort Worth, or should I go to Southwest closer to Denver? And so over time, you'll learn that. Or a seller says, hey, what are houses going for in my neighborhood? You can do a CMA to get a more exact number, but at least you'll have an idea over time. And I would even, as you do the search, we can show this to you later, try to zero in on an area that all feeds one elementary school. There's a bunch of different neighborhoods, subdivisions, areas that all feed into one elementary school. But now you're getting even more specific about, is it this area or this area over here? Because the zip code may have 4, 5, 6, maybe more elementary schools. Those are all going to be different in terms of the neighborhood, the age, the size of the house, the condition of the house, all those kinds of things. So one of the things you need to do is start getting out there. And don't, like I said, don't just go random. So see the sign back there, it says Highlands, right? But instead of Highlands, what if I just gave you those letters in some random order? Could you give them back to me after hearing one time? Probably not. But when there's context, they spell the word Highlands, and you can run them right off, couldn't you? And so the same thing about as you're previewing the 10 homes, have some context to it. Don't let it be random. And you'll pick up on what the market is doing much faster. Good. What else? A question or, okay, that makes sense. I didn't know what that was going to be like, but what he said makes sense.
About calling people on our phone. I would never thought of just like, okay, well, let me call, people around me and see how they're doing and stuff like that. So that's really good and easy, seems like.
Yeah, well, to place them on that curve. And like you said, call the people you know best. The first few conversations, let that people be, that you know fairly well. Don't let it be the person you haven't talked to in 10 years. Save that one for later after this is more comfortable for you. Okay, yeah. Because the averages tell us, and it'll be in another video, that within a year, about 6% of the United States population is going to move. So our job is to find the 6%. Which 6% of the people in your phone is going to be moving? Well, you won't know unless you're staying in contact with them to be able to plot those on that curve. Now, whether you actually use that curve or some other tool to do that, it doesn't really matter. So you had how many people in your phone? 18? So we've had people come before as brand new agents, just moved to Fort Worth, didn't know a soul in Fort Worth. So what they did was open houses, is that when people are coming to you and you're contacting their information to build your database and find customers, and they did door knocking. Knock, knock. Hello, hi, my name's Gene Lamb with Keller Williams. I'm a real estate agent, and we have buyers that would love to live in your neighborhood. Do you know any of your neighbors that are thinking about selling? No, I don't. Well, great. Here's my card. If you learn of somebody, will you call me? Thanks. You're on to the next house. Doesn't take long to learn that script. You're pretty comfortable with it, and you can cover a lot of houses. Now, the other thing I'm going to tell you is if you go door knocking, don't go by yourself, go with a partner for a variety of reasons. One is physical safety. Two is emotional safety. He yelled at me, he cussed at me, he slammed the door at me, whatever. And just feedback from each other. How did it go? Maybe need more materials. And then accountability. If I'm going to go door knocking all by myself, it's pretty easy to roll back over and go back to sleep. I'll just knock a few more doors tomorrow. But if I'm supposed to meet you there at 10 o'clock, I'm much more likely to get myself up and get there and meet you there at 10 o'clock.
What about just door hangers?
You can do that, door hangers. Lots of businesses that we are in business with, title companies, lenders, will provide the door hangers. And there's a little slot there for you to put your business card. So that's another thing. Yeah. Other thoughts, questions?
So how
Yes.
do you make an appointment? with the MLS? Like, if you don't want to go by myself, but
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen any.
Do you have access to MLS now?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see here. We got somebody's feedback on the chat. Like the to-do list is in the presentation, like the way it was broken down, to do, need to do, etc. Nasty cough. Well, we'll hope it gets better. Okay, so here I've got Netris up. Put some of this around. So I've done some searches earlier today. Let's just find one of those. So there's one that has 11 houses. I'm not sure exactly what it is. Okay, so let's say I've gone through here and I've decided I want to see this house and this house, and that one and that. Okay, now I'm going to look at the listing. As I look at the listing down here towards the bottom, called showing instructions, that one you call the agent. It says right here, call the agent. And then here's the occupancy. See, it was vacant. Now, some of the others right here on showing instructions, it's going to say showing time, which you can call showing time. You can go to their website and schedule showings on the internet electronically. But let's say I come here and I'm back to my agent single line display. And remember these things that I checked? Now I'm going to go down here to directions and look what it's going to do for me. It's going to map out, plot out for me the logical order to go see those homes instead of me crisscrossing the county. Then the other thing about that, let me change this a little bit, is right here, arrows come up where I can change the order. Most of the time when I'm going to go show houses, I'm going to go to the one that's farthest away. That's where I'm starting, and we're working our way back. So if this happened to do it the other way, I can just scoot those arrows around and then directions, email, print. So I can print out the directions and the map. So lots of times I'll do that. It's not as necessary these days since almost everybody has a GPS in their phone or their car. But what I'll do is I'll print out the one-page sheet and staple those together in the order we're going to go see them. And I'll print this out and hand it to my client at the first house, along with the information sheet in the order we're going to see them. And so there's a customer full report, and then there's an agent report. And so I'm going to do that, and I staple mine together in the order we're going to see them. And on the bottom, I'll write down information about our showing has been confirmed. If it's a combination box, I'll write the combination on there. So now I've got that stuff for you there. Okay. Now, this was for something else. So I'm only really going to go to the ones that say active. I'm not going to go to a house that's sold, but just for, showing how the direction thing works. Okay, what else? What did he say? Okay, so let me answer this question here. So if I go to criteria, I can add the city here, or I can add the zip code here. And see, this particular search, I was looking for places within 10 miles of that address. So if let me just do a new search and I'll show, let's see. So we're going to do a quick search and we're just going to go 76126. That's Benbrook and some of Southwest Fort Worth. And let's say I'm going to zero in on houses that are between $300,000 and $350,000. And I'm going to unclick these buttons because they're already under contract. I'm not going to go look at them. So there's 4 houses. Results 4. And click on results. There they are. I can click on each one of these. This is an icon means pictures. So these 2 are active, but for some reason don't have pictures in it yet. Don't know why. But if I click here, every one of those boxes automatically clicks. Instead of me having to click 4 times, I just click once. And then let's say for some reason I said, no, I'm not going to do the coming soon because they can't show a coming soon yet. So I'm going to unclick that and then I'll hit the directions on the others. So let's just see what this first one says. See if it's a showing timer.
So if it says agent, that means we're good to go, that we can go on our own.
If it says what?
Agent.
If what says agent?
If you say you can see it, you have showing time or.
Like right here, this says showing time.
So that one says showing time, but if it's agent.
Then you would call that agent.
You have to call the agent.
Yes. Yeah. So set up a day and a time.
But they don't need to do that.
The seller? Well, the other agent does not need to be there and the seller doesn't need to be there. Yeah. And they'll say, okay, it's a blue BTLE, that's that super box. And you should have an app on your phone or through Bluetooth, your phone talks to the super box to unlock the box. So that you can get in. If it says combo, then when they approve the showing, they'll send you an email with the combination for the combo box. Yeah, okay, good.
The same one, I know when I signed up for MetroText, they made me do an orientation. It broke down like very well, just for anyone that needs more time to watch the orientation video. It broke down everything on how to do this.
This system does, like, it'll do all kinds of things.
Yeah.
And they've got a
it's
bunch
really
of videos on there, because you don't need to know all of them today. But just familiarize yourself with where those videos are, so that when you do need to do something, say, I bet there's a video for that. MetroText is our board of realtors. They have a YouTube channel. There's a lot of videos there. They have videos on their website. So there's tons of things this system will do for you. Okay, like, and let me show you this. So I told you about customer full report. So I have mine on Agent 360 property search, because here's the listing information, but right next to it is a tab that'll automatically take me to realist tax. And there's the owner's name, there's the tax information, the square footage, all kinds of other stuff right there on realist tax. And so then I come back up here, there's the photos, there's the history. So the history, I can see it was coming soon on September the 20th. And then on September the 29th, it went to active. It went active option contract on October the 14th. And then evidently the buyer opted out, used their option period to opt out, because then it went back to active on October the 25th. So you get an idea of what kind of activity there's been there. And then flood map, especially the zip code I was talking about, Benbrook. Oops, looky there. Floodway, 100-year floodplain, 100-year floodway. Look here. See, there we are. So why do we care about that? What difference does that make? Flood insurance. So what happened to my house payment? It just went up. Can I afford that? So what happened to the price? If my house payment goes up, what happens to the price of the house I can afford? It has to go down. So my buying power is less. if it's in a floodplain. So I may still want that house because I like the house, I like the location, whatever. Maybe other reasons I still want it. I just need to go into it with my eyes open about that particular thing instead of finding out by accident later. When the lender calls and says, that flood insurance takes you out of your debt to income ratio for us to qualify. Well, let's find that out now while we're looking at the houses, not when we're a week before closing. Okay. So daily 10-4. What was the daily 10-4? We've been talked about the weekly, really, previewing homes. I don't know why they call it daily 10-4. So 10 conversations. Now, a conversation is not, I left a voicemail for. Conversation is he called me back and we had a conversation. So 10 conversations a day, 10 follow-ups. It could be a note. That's where he's talking about handwritten notes. He can't do that very well. So it could be a Facebook Messenger. It could be a text message. It could be an email, but follow up on what conversation that you had. And then what was the last one? We did the preview 10 homes, 10 conversations, 10 follow-ups, and 10 contacts in your database. Now, if you make an appointment with Christina Kingery, our technology person, she can show you how to en masse take all your phone contacts and put them in there, and how en masse take all your Facebook people and put them in there. But then what you need to do is you need to follow up, because most of those people, you don't know where they live. You don't know their street address, but that's a good reason to have a conversation. Hey, I've got some information I'd like to send you since I'm in real estate, just to kind of give you some free information, but I don't have your home address.
So she can have, I know she input it from my phone. She can put my Facebook.
I think so. I believe so. And either that or Scott Leroy Marketing that is free to you can do that also. So we've got to do every day 10 contacts into command, have 10 conversations with real life people, 10 follow-ups of one kind or the other, and then each week preview 10 homes to learn the market. So that's what it is. So another version of this is Gary Keller tells us that there are 5 parts of our daily job description. Daily job description: lead generate, lead follow-up. So look how we've talked about that already within our daily 10-4. Go on appointments, negotiate contracts, practice and role play. Practice your scripts, practice what you're going to say to the point that it doesn't sound like a script, to the point that it just sounds like we're having a conversation. And again, how many people are going to move? What percent?
6%.
So that means 94% aren't. So you don't want your conversation to be just so real estate focused that you might as well never mind on 94%. You don't want your conversation to be real estate focused at all. It just needs to kind of come naturally in the course of those conversations. How many times a year we're going to talk to everybody in our database? Somebody say 4. 4. Remember, he talked about 90 days. There's a slide there about every 90 days. So that's times 4 used to be 365 days in a year. So you're going to talk to each of those people 4 times a year. Have that conversation 4 times a year. When you do that, that's how you know where to track them on those curves. That's how you'll know. Now, things happen. People get surprised. That's not going to guarantee it's absolutely going to happen that way every time, but still you'll know most of the time when they're getting ready. Okay. So it's October. You talk to one of your friends and they say, yeah, my youngest son's graduating. He's going away to college. Next summer, we're going to be ready to downsize. We don't need this big house. Okay. You're getting farther and farther up that curve, aren't you? So you're going to stay in contact with them when you talk with them. So again, they talked about talking to people that you already know. Who do they know? And having that conversation. So it's not like, and even the Ford conversation. How is your family? How is your occupation? How are your recreation? How are your dreams? So that's pretty stiff and awkward. So you just, play what's going on. Is your son still on track to graduate? That's a family question. And if you've already found that out, how'd you find it out? Maybe it's the previous conversation. Maybe you saw it on Facebook. Maybe, whatever. Maybe another friend told you about it. So you want to talk to them about what's going on in their lives. It's a relationship business. not a transaction business. Why is that? Well, referral and repeat business. You want to help them again, don't you? Is there any one deal that's going to set you up for life as a real estate agent? No. You need repeat business and you want referral business. If it's repeat business 3 to 9 years when they sell that house and buy, that's great. But in between time, what do you want them to do? Refer you out to people that they know that need help. And are we being selfish about that? No. Most of the time, people need help in buying or selling a house, don't they? They don't know all there is to know about that. Neither do we yet, but we're learning. And most of the time, we're way far ahead of what they know. And so to help them with what is their biggest investment. So 2015, I helped these people buy a house for $132,000. 2020, we sold that house for $205,000. So what do you know that you can do where somebody can make $70,000 in 5 years? Now, some of that was the payments they made during those 5 years, but most of it was what? The market prices going up and up and up and up. And so I was talking to somebody else. I said, well, would you be all right if you had an extra $70,000? What would you do if you had $70,000? Buy a bigger house, maybe, with 20% down. So those particular people that I talked to, they made over $70,000 on 132. So if it's 140, they would have made half. So they made more than half again the value of their house. So they put 20% down on a $285,000 house. And what was their advantage of putting 20% down? No PMI, private mortgage insurance, extra house payment. So they put 20% down. They still owed $12,000 on their van, and their payment was $500 a month. So they paid off their van, freed $500 a month of cash flow. And when all that was done and they'd moved and everything done, they still had $10,000 left over of that 70 that they made. So what else could they have done to do that, to make $70,000 and be in a house that will last them for forever and no PMI and free up $500 a month cash flow? Yeah. And so sometimes if you're talking to people that are younger, say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Well, okay. You like money? Anything else you can think of to make $70,000 in 5 years?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you would do that. I thought you had the other thing we could do to make that. What's that going to be? Sell drugs? Yeah. No. So other ahas, other things that they said that stuck with you. Doesn't Jason Abrams just make it seem natural? Yeah. And so one of the things I'm going to tell you to consider is go back to kwonwardgroup.com, coaching tab, Ignite videos, and watch that one again. Because if you wrote down everything that is like an aha, ooh, that's something I want to remember, or underlined it, then you're going to have a lot of information, aren't you, to go back and review. And then write it down, underline things, take notes, because you can go back and look at those notes and review it faster than you can watch the video, the 1 hour video all over. But was that video worth an hour of your time?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you get it all? No. So go do it again. So does anybody in here have a favorite movie or movies? You have movies you'd like to watch a second or third time? Yeah. 50 times? Yeah. And probably there were things about that movie or song or whatever it is, book, that you noticed the second or third or fourth time that maybe didn't notice the first.
Well,
So-
I've been dating, I get some every time I watch it. I get something.
Yeah. And if it didn't have that much content, that much meat on the bone, it's probably not one of your favorites. Does that make sense? So I'm telling you that that video, there's a lot of meat on that bone. There's a lot of content. There's a lot of substance there. There's a lot of, oh yeah, that makes sense. And so go back, watch it, take notes, do an outline, write down keywords or phrases. You can pause it and then take your notes and then go again. But there's a lot there. That's why this is one of the few of these 18 Ignites that we're going to watch the video, because it was that good. Okay. So what did I tell you? Was your 5-part job description every day, daily job description of a real estate agent? Excuse me? We got two things going on. There's the daily 10-4, then there's the 5-part job description. So your job description every day is lead generation, lead follow-up. Go on appointments is number 3. Number 4 is negotiate contracts. Number 5 is practice and role play. As new agents, lots of days we don't have a number 3. We don't have an appointment to go on yet. Lots of days we don't have a number 4 contracting to be negotiated with another agent. So that frees up more time for more what? 1, 2, and 5. Lead gen, lead follow-up, practice and role play. So Tracy was in a coaching session this morning with us, and they were doing what? Practicing scripts? So tell us about that. What'd you notice?
They were practicing the IABS, and how to convey that to the buyer seller.
And did you get to do some of that, or you mainly observed?
Oh, I did some.
Okay. Okay, yeah, because she was newer than the other people that have been doing it a little bit longer. But one of the agents says, now I don't even have to look at the script because I know it. And now I can do it in 30 seconds. So if it can be done in 30 seconds, what is going on if it takes me 3 minutes? I don't know. I'm just bumbling around, talking and talking and talking until I can't think of anything else to say. Yeah.
What hours is the
Well, we have 2. We have 10:30 to 12 on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. And then we have a dual career session at 5:30 on Thursdays. Now, for now, you're going to be on Thursdays at 5:30. For the next few weeks, you're going to be doing this. But we'll have that, 10:30 to 12, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday. It's in the coaching suite right here or Zoom. And then 5:30 dual career. And it's Zoom only. So I'm going to encourage you to get into coaching. Yes.
I am registered, and Jennifer was telling me that there's a different schedule for the sessions, like for coaching.
Different.
Is it on the calendar, the sessions for coaching?
Text me your email address and I'll be sure you get on. When the people in coaching get an email every either Sunday or Monday, here's this week's schedule and here are the Zoom links.
Okay. And I could.
I know. There's too many different things going on. Yeah, especially as new agents. I tell new agents, if you're not overwhelmed, then you're just not paying attention. There's too much stuff for it to all soak in the first time around. It's like trying to drink from the fire hose. You know, more water is going out than it's coming in. But it'll get better. It'll get better. Like that agent, 30 seconds on the IABS script. She said, I don't even have to look at the piece of paper anymore. I just know it. We said, what if you practice the script while you're driving in the car on the way here? And the other real key thing, and every one of them will tell you this, that at first it might take them a minute or so to do it. And then the other agent, because we'll pair them up, and then the other agent will get their turn and we'll go back to the first person doing it again. Say, I got a lot better in 2 minutes. I only, my part, this whole thing took 5 minutes. I got to talk for 2 of those, but the second time I did it, I already got a lot better. The third time I did it, I was tons better. It doesn't take that many repetitions to get it. And so, and he was talking about scripts, and you need to turn them into a conversation for lots of different reasons. Nobody likes to feel like they're getting scripted because it just sounds fake and canned. The other thing is you really need to know the script so that while you're giving the script, while you're going through the information, whatever it is, you're not trying to remember. You're not trying to think, okay, that was number 3. What's number 4? What comes after that? Uh-oh, no, it was this one and then that one. You can't think about that. You got to have it down so well that what you're doing is you're paying attention to the client. Are they getting it? Do they understand? Do I need to speed up? Do I need to slow down? Do I need to go back over it? Whether they tell you that, or it's just their body language or their facial expression, that's what you need to be thinking about, concentrating on during that time. And you can't do that if you really know, if you don't really know what you're going to say. So here's an example I use. Think about when you first were learning to tie your shoes. How complicated that was. And that's what you had to be thinking about while you're doing it, wasn't it? Yeah. Some of us, umpteen times. We had to really be concentrating on that. But now it's just muscle memory takes over and you can be thinking about something completely different. In fact, you probably are while you're tying your shoes. And it would be the same way about these conversations that you have with potential clients. the same way that you have the conversations, the forward conversation with people as you're just catching up with them and figuring out where on that curve they go. And then eventually that will lead to, when they're ready, a more direct real estate conversation about buying or selling a house. Okay. So the other thing I want to do, and we'll wind up here in a little bit. Okay, go ahead. Don't be sorry.
Since I'm gonna be in Ignite for the Thursdays instead of the Zoom call, is there a place where I can get the script so I can just?
That onward coaching group thing, when we went to Ignite, coaching, Ignite, it said Ignite Toolkit. If you click on that, there's 2 books of scripts. So that's a starting place. Now there's a zillion scripts, a zillion of them. Don't wait till you learn them all to get started on real estate. And at some point, you're going to start concentrating on the scripts that are related to the kind of lead generation you're about to do. If you're just simply doing like the care call, like getting reestablished with somebody, reestablishing the connection, that's the forward script. So your day might be, I'm going to spend 30 minutes practicing the forward script with the script partner, or an hour, or whatever it is. And now I'm going to spend an hour making those kind of calls. And so, if you decide you're going to do open houses, then you spend time learning open house scripts and the door knocking to promote the open house. If for whatever reason, open houses just aren't going to be your thing, then don't spend any time on open house scripts. Spend this time on the kind of lead generation you're going to do. And some of your lead generation is going to be phone calls. Some of your lead generation is going to be Facebook Messenger. Some of it's going to be email. Some of it's going to be text message. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is today, let that all be phone calls. One call right after the other, after the other, after the other. Tomorrow, it's text messages. Because you can copy and paste and make just a few changes and crank that out pretty quickly. Then the next day, it's emails. Same thing. The next day, it's Facebook. Because if you just do it in some random order, just like the 10 letters, previewing 10 homes, it's not near as good as if I concentrate on phone calls today, I'm going to get better. If I concentrate on text messages this day, I'm going to get better. Emails, I'm going to get better by concentrating the repetition than by just simply some random order. Okay. And then let it be intentional about who you're going to contact. If today's a phone call day, I'm not calling my son. There is no point in me calling him. Is he going to listen to a voicemail? No. If it's my son, what am I going to do? I'm going to text him. So let that impact what you decide to do today, and therefore who you're contacting today. And so you can have some purpose to it, some strategy to it, like that. But the biggest thing is you just got to start practicing. You got to get into it. Gary Keller says real estate is a contact sport. You have to contact people one way or the other. You have to have those conversations and talk to people. Do you hear him use the phrase secret agent? You can't be a secret agent and make this work. It's not going to happen that way. Yeah. All right. What questions do you have? Yeah.
I got a lot of new contacts on Facebook, but 90% of them are out of state.
Okay.
So to get referrals, how can I find the agents?
So there's a way to do that automatically within Command. You can do that, but here's what I do. Go to kw.com. I scroll down here a little bit, it says find an office. So the last time I did this, the person I knew was moving to Montrose, Colorado. So I type in Montrose, Colorado, USA. And there's the office. And there's the phone number and the fax number. I'm not sure who still faxes, but it's there. There's the phone number. So I called that phone number and introduced myself. I'm Gene Lamb. I'm with Keller Williams office in Fort Worth, Texas. I'd like to speak to your team leader. So then the team leader or the assistant team leader, if they're not there, they get on the phone. I told them, I've got somebody moving to your area. I need to find a referral agent that can help these people. This is what they're looking for. They want 5 acres out in the country. They want a farmhouse. They want a barn. They want this and that. And so based on that information about the client, the team leader said, I know which one of my agents is going to be a good match. See, if my people wanted a condo in town, probably would have been a different agent with it. So then you talk to that team leader, whoever you get to talk to there, about the specifics of your client and let them lead you to somebody that would be a good match. Yeah.
Somebody texted me the other day, you know, it's like they often wanted me to be part of your referral something, but I've been getting so many spam stuff. I didn't know if that was real or.
If you go into command, there's an area in there, and all those things will come through in command. So that way you'll have an idea which ones are legit.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the most important thing you have to do? Lead generation. And most agents that don't make it because they don't find a form of lead generation that they will do. They're not comfortable with it. They don't do enough work to get comfortable with it. And so then they just don't do it or don't do enough of it. And then they don't have enough business and they're out. And so that again is another reason to go watch this video again. Because Jason Abrams, pretty sharp guy, but see how he led you how to just make it natural. The things he said to just make it natural. And you're just reconnecting with people. You know, if it's been a while since you've talked to him, I wouldn't even bring up real estate at all. Not at all. Because then what are they going to think? Yeah, you're only contacting me because now you're a real estate agent. You want me to buy a house. Well, I'm contacting you because I need to reestablish the relationship. And maybe that leads to some business and maybe it doesn't. I mean, how many people do you know you haven't talked to in a long time? A year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. Yeah. So just talk to them. And the forward conversation, you may not get through all 4 letters in any one conversation. That's okay. Don't feel like you need to. You don't have to open up with family. You could do something else. So what if you just saw on Facebook that you just got back from a location? So you're my Facebook friend. You just saw I've been out of town. You call me up and what do you say? Hey, Gene, I saw those pictures. That trip looked great. Tell me. It's like, please buy a house for me. Yeah. Yeah. Because why? Because it's a relationship business. We want to help those people. They need our help. And everybody is better. You know, the people I helped buy in 2015 for 132 and sell in 2020 for 205 and cleared $70,000. Are they better off? Doggone sure are. Yeah. So help them. And then who do they know that I can help? You know, which one of your family and friends might, who do you know that I might be able to help buy, sell, or invest in real estate? You know? Yeah. And so if the conversation does turn to real estate, then that's the approach I would take. Not so much, are you ready to buy or sell? But yeah, I'm in real estate now. I'm glad you noticed that. And it's fun. I like it, and just, I'm always interested in finding out, people that I can help you. So when you learn of some of your family and friends that are thinking about buying or selling or investing in real estate, let me know. Okay. So you can make it low key, no pressure. Anybody in here like a slick, pushy salesman?
No.
Pretty big turnoff, isn't it? Yeah. So don't be that. Find a way to let it sound natural and normal. Like, okay, yeah, that's reasonable. Glad you called. We'll talk again. How many times are you going to talk to them? 4 times a year. And a little bit later in another session, we'll give you a little handout that tells you who to call each week. So that way you can keep track of it and divide your calls up relatively evenly. So if you called all the S's and the T's this week, that'd be a lot of calls. So we're going to pair S with another letter and T with another letter. So A is with W, B is with somebody else. So there's a system to it. And then that way that also helps you avoid what they call call bias. Oh, I don't want to call him. He doesn't want to hear from me. And I don't really much like him anyway. Well, maybe you need to just take him off the list, but that helps you avoid, not getting a hold of people in that regular routine, systematic way. So what else can we talk about that will help you here in the last few minutes? If it seems like a lot, that's kind of because it is. So again, don't let that overwhelmation feeling. I just told somebody, and I said, well, that means you're 100% normal. You're feeling overwhelmed, you are normal.
This class was pretty good, even though this is the first class.
Yeah.
Even when I went into that, Metrotech stuff, I was like, okay, I've seen that, the listing or whatever. I'm like, so do I get to go to your house? Do I get to go look at the houses myself? So that really helped me out a lot.
Good.
Where is she at?
Yeah.
We'll be hanging out with us. No, I think
It's a backdrop.
Is it?
Yeah, just a backdrop. She was here in the office today. She's not in palm trees.
You got me.
Cheater.
Yeah, I like that though.
Yeah, it's a
I
good
know
one.
that's that I'm in front of it all day, like.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. So, you've got to figure out what am I going to say, and then you're going to start calling. And another thing I do is the first umpteen calls, just do it with a family or friends. Say, hey, I'm just practicing. I need to practice. When I call you, yeah. And like today, we said when you're practicing with the script partner, I said the first few times they do it, be nice, be easy on them, and then after a little while, interrupt them, ask them a question, throw them off their game a little bit, give them an objection to handle, and so they're going to get better and better. If every call is easy in script practice, then it's going to be hard to handle the curveballs when something goes wrong. So start off nice, agreeable, make it easy for them, because right now they're just kind of trying to remember. But then after a little while, ask questions, that kind of stuff. So one of the things that happened in there today is we had a group of 3. So it wasn't just 2 people, it's a group of 3, and the third person was just observing. And so then they would give feedback to the agent and the person who's being the client. And then they would rotate. So everybody got to be the agent, everybody got to be the client, and everybody got to be the observer. And then if you set something like that up, if what happens is that somebody gets sick or can't be there that day or something like that, then you still got somebody to script practice with. And you're welcome to come 10:30 to 12 to our coaching session. In fact, we encourage it. Now, the coaching program, there's a cost to that, but only when you have a closing. There's no upfront cost, there's no ongoing cost. Only when you have a closing, you'll pay the coaching program 10% of your gross commission income. But I'm the coach. I answer my phones on nights and weekends. We say, send me your first 4 deals before you send them to your client. Let's talk through that situation, talk about the contract, talk about the paperwork. So the answer to your question, if you're in coaching, is the answer is call Gene. That's the answer to your question. When you have a question, call Gene. Gene's answer is, it depends.
So what if you?
And then we talk through about what it depends on in this particular situation. Excuse me.
I'm sorry. What if you?
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday.
So what if I can't come like Monday and Tuesday, and maybe on Thursday, or maybe not on Thursday, and on Tuesday? Do I have to be at all sessions if I sign up?
You don't have to be. Is it better off to be? Yes. It's the more you can be there, the better, but you don't have to be. And you'll miss some of what we're talking about.
Right.
So some of coaching is teaching, giving you information, showing you how to do like the directions, that stuff. But some of it is questions. Like the question today was, what one thing do you need to get better? Well, think about 50 things I need to get better on. That's too much for now. What one thing do you need to get better on this next week? Another question is, tell me something you did last week that you want to be sure and do it again. Tell me about your last month. What things in there do you wish you'd done differently? So some of it is like business type thinking.
Right.
So there's a book called The Road Less Stupid. And I love the title. But one of the things he says in there is, as a business owner, you wear lots of different hats. And he says, which hat are you spending too much time on because that's your comfort zone? And which business owner hats are you kind of avoiding because they're out of your comfort zone? And so, just kind of thinking through that. Okay, so now it's like, okay, so what do I do about that? How do I handle that? At a certain point, you can leverage out some things to other agents, to other people. Like there's something called transaction coordination. And so you can leverage that out and somebody will do that. We have a lady here who does it and you pay her $300 at closing. So there's no upfront, no out of pocket. It's just when you have a closing, she'll get $300 of your commission, but she'll take care of all those things that have to happen between going under contract and closing. Now, she doesn't negotiate repairs. That's you and your client that are going to do that. But I've used her before for that, and I'll just email her, put this language in a repair amendment, send it to the buyer. After the buyer signs it, send it to the listing agent. We'll take care of a lot of that kind of thing. So that leverages out you to do some other things. Now, if I just go sit by the pool while she's doing that, I can, but I'm not making any more money, am I? What should I be doing? More lead generation, and because I'm going to make more money at lead generation than the $300 I'm going to pay that person to do that. Yeah. There's things, all kinds of things like that. Gary Keller has 6 coaches. So maybe as a new agent, you need one.
Can I butt in, Jean?
Go ahead.
Sorry. So I wasn't able to make it this morning or right now, but I can tell you I tried to do my first transaction by myself and I thought I could do it. I did, but it was a lot of trouble. And with the few coaching sessions that I've been to, I can tell that if I had been in coaching since the very beginning, my transaction would probably run a lot smoother than I thought, or than it actually did. So, and then the other thing is, if you can make it to the office, to the in-person classes, go ahead and do that, because you need to get out of the comfort of your house. Doing that will get you efficient in doing what you need to do, because usually whenever you get out of the coaching sessions or the Ignite sessions, there's people who hang around to do script practice even after that. So you get to working on what you need to be working on to be the successful person that you want to be in the business.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah, you are a business owner. So you've got to think like a business person. You've got to act like a business person. You've got to run it like a business. And so it's a process of learning how to do that. Yeah. Okay, y'all, it's pushing 7:30. Thanks for being here tonight. You should all have my name and phone number. I'll give it to you if you don't have it, and that way you can call me anytime. Thursday night is going to be a guy named Robbie Edwards teaching knowing your value proposition. What value do you offer your clients? So it's getting clarity on that for yourself so you can make that clear to your clients. So that's what Thursday will be about. It'll be a good session. He's a good teacher. And so we'll look forward to hoping y'all are all here on Thursday. Okay?
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See you tomorrow at Bold.
All right. I'll be there.